Well, yesterday, the president of Woodhill Capital faced a federal judge and was charged with several counts of fraud for allegedly operating a decades-long Ponzi scheme from his Williamsville office. 2
On Your Side's Nate Benson is following up with the U.S. Attorney today about the impact of these type of Ponzi schemes. Nate?
Yeah, good evening, Scott and Mary Alice. The U.S. Attorney says that Ponzi schemes are often hard to identify until they fall apart, just like the one at Woodhill Capital. U.S. Attorney for the Western District, Michael DiGiacomo, sat down with 2 On Your Side's favorite plants, Ron that is, to discuss a variety of topics. And he spoke about a big story that 2 On Your Side has been investigating for the last month or so, a Ponzi scheme orchestrated by a local investment firm. The U.S. Attorney made a point to say that because of the ongoing investigation and criminal case against Woodhill Capital President Richard Teplitsky, he would only speak broadly about Ponzi schemes and not get into the specifics of the Woodhill Capital case. As we learned in court on Tuesday, Teplitsky admitted to the FBI that he had been creating fictitious loan documents to solicit to investors since the 1990s. We asked the U.S. Attorney why it's so hard to identify Ponzi schemes.
Ponzi schemes oftentimes go unnoticed until the money dries up. Once the money dries up and payments can no longer be made, that's when it comes to light.
The entire scheme relies on new investors.
The longer you can continue to pull in new investors and pay your old investors, the longer you can hide the scheme.
According to court documents, the scheme fell apart in March when payments to investors abruptly halted. According to documents in a civil lawsuit against Woodhill Capital, investors were promised big returns.
And some people are really good at Ponzi schemes. What they do is they will actually give you your money back to further entice you. So when they pull you in, they're like, I'm going to offer you a 12% rate of return, where if you go to a local bank, you might get a 0.5% or maybe a 3%.
In the case of Woodhill Capital, Teplitsky admitted to the FBI that fake loans had been solicited to investors since the 1990s. And as the U.S. Attorney says, in order for a Ponzi scheme to work, new investors need to be brought in consistently.
But if that money's still coming in and you'll not be impacted, you will get what you had, quote, bargained for. But it's those people that come in at the end, when there's no more, when the money dries up, that is when those type of schemes appear.
So what are the chances victims could see any of their assets recovered?
In this office, we have a asset recovery division, and we take every step we can early on in the investigation, before oftentimes these cases are charged, we will be doing a financial analysis to determine what assets are potentially derived from the ill-gotten gains and or assets that still might be available.
According to sources, at least $60 million had been invested with Woodhill Capital since 2021. More than $35 million of that remains unaccounted for. Now, as for what happens next, Teplitsky was released from custody yesterday but had to surrender his passport and be fitted for an ankle monitor. He's expected back in court in early August for those criminal charges. On Your Side, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News.